and countrywomen, greetings to all of you. Tonight, I've come here to address you on the indiscipline, lack of patriotism, and possible corruption and criminality by some actors who can endanger our future if they are not firmly dealt with. As I've told you many times, the NRM started as a student movement in the 1960s, especially around 1965. Previously, most of us had been associated with the then existing sectarian parties of DP, UPC, and Kabaka Yekka. By 1965, and subsequently, we realized that those old parties had very wrong positions on principles of ideology and also on socio-economic issues. On ideology, they believed in the politics of identity, religion, tribes, and gender chauvinism. And on socio-economic issues, they believed in the strategy of neo-colonial dependency and the elite line of working mainly for the few and not bothering about the many, especially in wealth creation. We, on the other hand, came to believe in the ideological principles of patriotism, love Uganda because you need it for your prosperity, Pan-Africanism, love Africa because you need it for your prosperity, and socio-economic transformation, which means metamorphosis from the livelihood of Jajja, Tekwaro, to modernization, and also the principle of democracy. Within the principle of socio-economic transformation, we maintained the mass line, rather than the elite line of only serving the few and forgetting the many. The colonial and the neo-colonial economy of that time was, for instance, being described as an economy of the three C's and 3 T's. Wabewo awandika ensonga zino byenjogedde oluvannyuma bifunze mu Luganda, simanyi mutedde kwani ani oyo nsegumire okay. Wandika ensonga onazifunza oluvannyuma mu Luganda. The colonial and the neo-colonial economy of that time, you can also give him the copy of my speech so that he can follow it better. The colonial and the neo-colonial economy of that time was, for instance, being described as an economy of the 3 C's and the 3 T's. These were coffee, cotton, and copper, as well as tea, tobacco, and tourism. By 1962, this money economy was apparently covering only 9% of the homesteads. The rest, 91%, were in the non-money subsistence economy of only okora echida chonka, teach me each keken, working only for the stomach. Those colonial and neo-colonial economies were being described as enclave, i.e. island economies, meaning that a small island of money economy is surrounded by a sea of underdevelopment, a no-money economy. By the end of the 1960s, our student movement was clear that an enclave economy was a disaster for Africa and the third world. We are to build a new type of economy, which I will point out later. We indeed had started mobilization of Jajja, Tekwaro, traditional cattle keepers, Abadisa, right from 1966, walking on foot, kuraro to kuraro. We had even tactically started working with the UPC to see whether we could implement part of our vision. However, the internal weaknesses of these sectarian groups came to fruition. Kubanga bali betwali tukola nabo bali banafu. The people we were trying to work with, the UPC, the DP, were all weak. They couldn't maintain stability. So while we had started working with the UPC 1969, 70, you will hear what happened because of their internal weaknesses. However, the internal weaknesses of these sectarian groups came to fruition. Idi Amin, an illiterate member of the Obote faction of 1966, unprincipled crisis. Ebizibu byankaga mu mukaaga byali biyimiridde ku nsonga enkyamu. Bali balwanda bikyamu ababirimu Kabaka Yekka ne UPC bona bibaliko byali tubiri ku mulamwa gw'abantu baffe. So in that crisis, Idi Amin had been part of the faction of Obote.